The Jordan Show on YouTube.
Okay, so think about it, like for a second. How much we're just like constantly connected now.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
all the time.
it's crazy. Working from home, streaming movies, even like ordering takeout, like all of it
Everything.
depends on a good internet connection, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And a huge part of like the reason all that even works goes back to one company,
Okay.
Cisco Systems.
Interesting.
So today we are diving deep
Right.
into the story of Cisco from, get this, like a love story at Stanford to like a global tech powerhouse, you know.
I love that. The love story angle, yeah.
Yeah, so I gotta ask right off the bat about this love story.
Of course.
Like, what's the deal with Cisco's founders?
Okay, so rewind to the mid-'80s, Stanford University.
Okay.
Leonard, Bosack, and Sandy Lerner, they're a couple working in different departments at Stanford. And they were so frustrated because they couldn't get their computer networks to talk to each other.
Like back then, different networks used different, what are called protocols, but basically it's like different languages.
Yeah.
And there wasn't an easy way to like translate between them.
It's crazy to think, now we take it for granted, but like there was a time when things just couldn't connect easily.
Exactly, totally different world.
So how did they solve this whole communication breakdown?
Well, you know what they say, necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Right.
They invented this device called a multi-protocol router,
Okay.
and it basically acted as a universal translator for computer networks.
Oh, wow.
So it allowed all these different systems to talk to each other, share information, which was like mind-blowing at the time, like revolutionary.
Yeah.
And that invention, that was the very foundation of Cisco Systems, which they founded in 1984.
1984.
Yeah.
That's like the year the Macintosh came out. Ghostbusters was in theaters.
Huge year,
Big year for tech.
for sure.
So they launched Cisco. What were those early days like? Did they know they had like struck gold?
Well, their first product, they called it the AGS router. And it was specifically designed so that multiple computers could share a single internet connection.
Oh, smart.
This was huge, like for universities, businesses,
Yeah.
and it just took off. Mm-hmm. And then they got John Morgridge to join as CEO in 1988, and things really started to change.
Oh yeah, John Morgridge, like the business guru, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he the one who took Cisco public?
Exactly. That IPO in 1990, it was huge.
Right.
Raised $224 million for Cisco,
Right.
which gave them, you know, all the money they needed to really scale up,
Oh, right.
expand their reach.
So that's got to be where John Chambers comes in, right? He's the one who really made Cisco like a household name.
That's right. John Chambers took over in 95, right as the internet was, you know, starting to become like a thing that everyone's talking about.
Right.
And he had this vision, he called it networking as a utility,
Yeah.
meaning that internet access, it should be as basic and reliable as like electricity
Oh, I like that.
or water.
Yeah.
You just turn it on and it works.
That was bold though, right? Like what if people just weren't into the whole internet thing like he thought they would be?
I mean, yeah, some people thought he was crazy, but Chambers' vision totally paid off.
Big time.
I mean, think about it. As more and more people got online, Cisco's networking equipment, they were selling it like hotcakes.
They were essential.
But Chambers also knew that staying ahead in tech meant more than just building routers.
Right. I think I read somewhere that Cisco was like on a shopping spree back then, like acquiring all kinds of companies.
Yeah, that was a strategic move to like cement their place as the leader in networking.
Makes sense.
They bought companies like Stratacom, which did high-speed networking for like big businesses, and Cerent, which was doing this cutting-edge optical networking stuff.
Okay.
So those acquisitions meant that Cisco could offer this whole range of products and services.
Right.
They were like a one-stop shop for any organization's networking needs.
So they went from connecting like college campuses to basically building the entire internet. I mean, that's incredible.
It really is. Yeah.
But then the dot-com bubble burst.
Yeah.
How did Cisco survive that?
Well, like a lot of tech companies, Cisco took a hit when that bubble burst, early 2000s.
Yeah.
But instead of, you know, just retreating and kind of hunkering down,
Right.
they used it as a chance to branch out, diversify.
Interesting.
So they got into new areas like cybersecurity. They knew that as more and more businesses were moving online, they'd need to protect their data.
Yeah, totally. That's smart.
Yeah.
So what else? What other areas did they get into?
So collaboration tools, that became huge. I mean, remember this was before Zoom, before Microsoft Teams.
Right, yeah.
And Cisco, they acquired WebEx, which was this platform for video conferencing and online meetings, which really took off as remote work became, more and more common.
Right.
And then they also went big into the Internet of Things, connecting all these everyday devices to the internet. Like, they recognized early on that everything from cars to refrigerators was all going to be online eventually.
And that's wild. Like, it's almost like they were predicting the future.
Yeah, they were really good at anticipating those trends, adapting to stay ahead of the curve.
So looking back at Cisco's whole story, what stands out? What's their biggest impact?
Cisco's story is really woven into the whole history of the internet. Their tech, it powers such a huge part of the internet's infrastructure.
Wow.
Like, every time you send an email, stream a movie, just connect with anyone online, chances are Cisco had a hand in making that connection happen.
That's mind-blowing. Just to think, it all started with two people who just wanted to connect their computer.
Check Stanford.
Yeah, at Stanford.
Yeah, it's really a testament to the power of solving problems and being able to adapt.
Yeah.
I mean, they solved a problem most people didn't even know existed. And in doing so, they really laid the groundwork for a more connected world.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, what's the next seemingly small problem that's going to spark the next big revolution?
Yeah, what's that next, Cisco? Right.
Like what's flying under the radar right now that's going to totally transform the way we connect,
Totally.
the way we interact in the future? It's really something to think about.
Absolutely. Those seeds might be out there right now, just waiting to be discovered.
Well, that is our deep dive into the story of Cisco Systems. It's amazing to see how much impact one company can have on the world.
For sure. They've had a huge impact.
Thanks for joining me, and for everyone listening, keep an eye out for those small problems. You never know. You might just stumble upon the next big thing.
Exactly. You never know.
So until next time, stay curious and stay connected.
Absolutely.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
The Jordan Show on YouTube.